Also tonight,
mwezi wa 12 walipishana na mke wake. Labu huyo mama alikuwa akiniambia niko safari niende kwetu.
Man on the run after allegedly defiling his 3 daughters.
And foreigner brutally beats guard, walks scot-free.
Kwa police station sidhani kama wako, lakini gari iko pale.
A guard's quest for justice.
NTV Tonight with Masai and Zainab Ismail.
Thank you so much for joining us. Our sign language interpreter this evening is Flora Atieno. Now, for the 3rd day, the Cabinet Secretary for the National Treasury, Henry Rotich, is being grilled at the Directorate of Criminal Investigation headquarters.
The CS, through his lawyer, last night said that the grilling was over and that they had cooperated with the investigators. However, he was back there to the surprise of many.
And our investigative editor, Dennis Okari, is at the DCI headquarters and now joins us live with an update. Dennis, has the CS left the premises yet?
Well, Zainab and Mark, it's been an extraordinary week here at the DCI headquarters, and like you've rightly put, we thought this was going to be over, or rather we thought it was over yesterday when lawyer Kato Kigen said that his client had given the detectives who are probing this matter all the information that they had. But he was here today, and the Treasury CS, Henry Rotich, arrived here at 4 p.m. He's still in there being grilled over the controversial payments of the 2 dams in Elgeyo-Marakwet County. And what is happening here at the moment, through sources who have spoken to us, is they're trying to corroborate some facts and they're trying to have some clarification and some confirmations over statements that the CS gave here for the last 2 days, Tuesday, Wednesday, when he spent 15 hours going over through 300 questions on a 200-page document. And they thought that this was going to be over, but it looks like it is not over yet. And so today what they're doing, they're fact-checking a number of issues. Obviously the stakes are very high. The money is involved, are very, very huge sums of money. So they're trying to put all this together because there is obviously pressure and time is of the essence to try and bring this case to a close. And what we've been told is that from this point on, because of that issue of time, is they want to put their report together, and the detectives have their report of what they've investigated over this controversial project and what the CES actually gave them. So they're trying to get to the bottom of this and make sure that they have a watertight case. And what happens next? That's the big question that everyone is asking after this grilling. They're putting the report together and they're going to hand over this report to the Directorate of Public Prosecution, and they're planning to take the officers from that office through the files and through the reports and everything that they've been able to gather, because it is a lot of paperwork, we've been told. So they're taking the officers, they're going to take the officers rather through all that information before they can make their conclusion. The DCI Director, George Kinoti, has said that they are not giving any names yet on who they think is going to be prosecuted or whoever is culpable and who is going to be charged, and that job will be left for the DPP. So all eyes from this point on will be looking towards the DPP's office and what they'll be able to come up with and which names that they're going to be giving in terms of those who are going to be charged. Mark and Zainab.
Dennis Okari there, the DCI headquarters. It seems eyes are still there, even though we thought it was over. And moving on to the next point of investigations, we'll keep an eye on that. But still on the same, when Henry Rotich was appointed the Cabinet Secretary for the National Treasury in 2013, many welcomed the news with great expectations.
And Rotich, then a senior economist at the Treasury, was part of the team credited with the improved performance of the country's economy.
But 6 years later, the technocrat is now at the center of the allegations of dubious payments of 21 billion shillings for the construction of dams.
Just where did things go wrong? NTV's Silas Apollo reports.
That a man with decorated credentials would be blamed for some of the economic turmoils facing the country still baffles many. Henry Rotich, the 56-year-old economist, has enjoyed an illustrious career from the Central Bank of Kenya, the International Monetary Fund (IMF) to key positions in the Treasury. For most of his admirers and colleagues, the Harvard Kennedy School graduate has enjoyed a career considered exemplary. But it is his stint at the helm of the National Treasury that has set him on a collision path with critics. The CS is currently at the center of the storm over the 21 billion shillings payment for the construction of the Aror and Kimorer dams. Ironically, the CS hails from Kimorer. His lawyer, Kato Kigen, who had on 2 occasions accompanied him to the DCI for grilling, has however maintained that the CS is innocent.
Otherwise, we have availed the information they needed, and we commit ourselves to be available to assist in the investigations. Thank you very much. We are yet to know whether there are 300, but of course we are surprised that the media is more aware of the questions that we are to answer than ourselves who are to answer them.
Rotich was appointed to the Treasury by President Uhuru Kenyatta after the 2013 elections, a position he has held into the second term of the Jubilee administration, making him one of the few CSs to do so. Some have argued that his apolitical character is to be credited for his long stay in the docket despite the turmoils.
Be faithful to the Republic of Kenya.
But besides the dam saga, the CS has in the past been on the spot for what some economists have termed over-borrowing to finance infrastructure projects.
Borrowing is critical, but it's not a critical prerequisite. It's not a necessity.
Some supporters of the Jubilee Party have credited him with successfully floating the first Eurobond and the subsequent ones, but these are now at the center of the country's ballooning debt. Rotich's appointment to head the Treasury was seen as a win for the Jubilee administration, thanks to his glowing credentials and deep-rooted links at the Treasury. The career economist was the head of macroeconomics at the Treasury and worked with President Kenyatta, who was then finance minister in the Grand Coalition government.
While it may be too early to predict what the future holds for the career technocrat Henry Rotich, one thing remains for sure: the road ahead may continue to be a bumpy one. Silas Apollo, NTV.
All right, and away from that, Deputy President William Ruto says ODM leader Raila Odinga is a political fraud who lacks the legitimacy or integrity to point a finger at him in the ongoing debate on the Aror and Kimorer dams scandal.
NTV's political affairs reporter Kennedy Morethi covered the closing ceremony of the 6th Devolution Conference, where the Deputy President threw the last salvo in an ongoing battle of words with Raila Odinga.
Deputy President William Ruto was eager to answer Raila over remarks he made against him, setting stage for a bare-knuckle political battle that seems to be getting more intense with each passing day.
Ladies and gentlemen, the biggest threat to the war on corruption is selective prosecutions targeting predetermined individuals or projects. And secondly, rumor mongers, propagandists, and peddlers of half-truths, exaggerations, and distortions meant for media headlines to execute covert political schemes which in and of itself constitute obstruction of justice.
Raila on Wednesday said the Deputy President had no business addressing himself to the figures at the heart of the dam scandal, as it was the work of the relevant investigative agencies, unless the Deputy President was the thief, he said. Ruto insists no money has been lost, and Raila is just being dishonest in his prosecution of the matter before the public eye.
Known political frauds whose word means nothing, neither have the legitimacy nor integrity to lecture anyone on matters corruption or integrity.
On Wednesday, Raila did not mince his words in his attack against the Deputy President, calling him all manner of names, including insinuating that he was involved in the theft of funds for the construction of the 2 dams.
If you are talking about the theft of the dams, and figures are there, don't come and tell us that it was not 20 billion, it was only 7. Let the investigation authorities complete the investigations. Who are you to tell us? How did you know? You are the thief who is trying to show us that, oh, the other thief running away.
The question that I am being asked is actually like a hyena asking a herdsman, what is your interest in your herd? And why do you know the number of the livestock you are keeping? Honestly, why wouldn't a herdsman have an interest in the herd he's keeping and the number?
Ruto insists it is his business to keep tabs on development projects started by the Jubilee government as the president's principal assistant, and that it entails numbers, especially money allocated and spent on the projects.
Propagandists are so notorious and brazenly incorrigible that sometimes they cannot even remember the last lie they told. This is the unfortunate and reckless politicization of the war on graft, and you, who are engaged in this charade, are the biggest single threat to the fight against corruption, and in fact, you are the ugly face of impunity.
There are those who want the two leaders to set aside their differences and focus on the country's development.
Many people wish you and the Prime Minister have a second generation handshake. That will be good for this country.
Raila called him a thief yesterday, and Ruto has today called Raila a political fraud, all playing into the power play that has been witnessed between those two leaders as they try to ring-fence the relationship each one of them has with President Uhuru Kenyatta since the 9th March handshake last year. Kennedy Mureithi, NTV in Kirinyaga County.
From the exchange of words to something that leaves a bad taste in the mouth. Police in Kabartonjo, Baringo County are looking for a 45-year-old man from Kapkiamo in Baringo North who is suspected to have defiled his 3 daughters, with relatives fearing that he might have infected them with a sexually transmitted infection.
Now, according to neighbors and relatives, the man whose marital relations broke down almost 4 months ago could have done what he did to get back at his estranged wife, with whom they had frequent quarrels before she abandoned her matrimonial home.
The lush green and the hills of Baringo enhance the beauty of the scenery, but also quietly cover a dark secret that the residents speak about only in undertones. At the foot of the hills, a homestead remains quiet, the door locked, the only occupant the family's sole cow grazing in the distance. The owner of the home, Isaac Kibowen, is accused of preying on his very own young daughters, who ideally expect his protection from any form of harm. His ex-wife was still in tears, even when she talked to us about a rocky relationship that she finally walked out of.
Tulikuwa tukikaa na huyu baba watoto kwa muda wa 18 years. Tulikuwa achana kwa sababu vile yeye alikuwa akikaa na yeye alikuwa akinisumbua kunipika na kusumbua watoto kutesa.
Neighbors say that she had expressed her desire to walk out of a stressful marriage.
Ilikuwa karibu mwezi wa 12 walipishana na mke wake. Alafu huyo mama alikuwa akiniambia niko safari niende kwetu. Nikamwambia wewe vumilia tu, utawaachilia nani watoto? Akaniambia kama baba watoto amekuwa mbaya, eri mimi niende kwetu. Nikamwambia yeye ama uchukue huyu msichana mkubwa na huyu mtoto mdogo. Akasema mimi naenda, siwezi peleka mtoto ya mtu.
The mother made good her threat, leaving behind her 14, 11 and 7-year-old daughters with their father, who they revealed to detectives was sleeping with them in one bed and molesting them.
Tumekuja kuangalia kwamba kumbe hii maneno ni ya ukweli, na ni ya ukweli kabisa, watoto ndio wanasema ukweli kabisa. Mpaka sisi tukaitwa kama wasee wa nyumba 10, tukaenda hapo, tukaenda kusikiza hiyo maneno. Kumbe huyu alikuwa anapenda kutumia watoto yake tena kwa mambo ya mapenzi tena.
The 3 girls have recounted events and given details of the horrific acts to investigators at the Kabartonjo police station, where they were taken after local chief rescued them from their home.
Ya area hiyo walikuwa wanahofia kwa sababu huyo mzee anakaa nyumba moja na watoto wake, na wanalala kitanda kimoja, ni kama anawatumia vibaya.
The girls were taken to hospital for checkup by medical personnel, where experts say they showed signs of defilement.
I took the children to maternity to ascertain whether they were injured during defilement, and I found that the one for 14 years actually had an infection. There was something called discharge, which was smelling.
Police are looking for the suspect, while the children will remain in state custody pending direction from the courts. Leila Mohammed, NTV.
I mean, that's quite heartbreaking there.
Yeah, definitely, and we certainly hope that the sick man will be brought to justice and healing to the girls, not only just physically but as well as psychologically for what they've gone through the hands of their own parent who's meant to protect them. Something to look forward to tomorrow, at least hopefully on a positive note. Tomorrow the world celebrates International Women's Day, which has become a focal point for the women's rights movement.
A themed Balance for Better. This year's celebrations will be marked by a call to action for driving gender balance across the world.
So how can you make a difference? For answers to this and much more, the Daily Nation has partnered with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation to bring you 16 free pages of exciting, inspirational profiles of women doing extraordinary stuff.
Do not miss your copy of the Daily Nation tomorrow. All right, now the Parliamentary Departmental Committee on Labour and Social Welfare has called for the withdrawal of cases against Kenya airport workers and urged the Kenya Airport Workers Union to call off its strike that has adversely affected operations at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport.
The committee made the recommendations this evening after meeting union officials, even as normalcy slowly returned to the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport.
A day after enduring one of its lowest moments in recent times owing to a major strike by aviation workers protesting the proposed takeover of the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport by struggling national carrier Kenya Airways, Africa's fourth busiest airport slowly sprang back to life.
I didn't have delays. My flight was at 9:50 a.m. and we left at 10. So I didn't have delays. Only my colleagues had delays yesterday.
Meanwhile, the controversial proposal remained a matter of national concern as the National Assembly spent the entire evening debating it. Members questioned, among other things, the initiatives and the viability of the proposal.
What rationale is there to fast track the resolution and the winding of JKA to KQ? Concept paper of a merger of two big companies with the shareholders, it will take not even 6 months, it will take even 1 year.
At a separate session skipped by Transport Ministry, Kenya Airports Authority and Kenya Airways officials, the Parliamentary Committee on Labour and Social Welfare recommended, among other things, the withdrawal of cases against Kenya Airport Workers Union officials, resumption of dialogue between the stakeholders and an immediate discontinuation of the strike by the union.
Considering the strategic position of the aviation sector to the economy, further considering the losers both the government, the general public and even the international actors such as other airlines calls off the strike and embrace dialogue.
After this evening's meeting, all eyes now shift to tomorrow's case at the JKIA law courts on whether the case facing the union officials will be withdrawn as per the resolutions and whether the officials will return the favor by calling off the strike. Victor Kiprop, NTV, Parliament Buildings.
All right, thank you so much, Victor, for that report. Now, Mark, you know, Nairobi is famed for being the only city with a natural national park.
That's right, and we've been seeing some pictures. I don't know if this was to carry the message forward. Some pictures here that we could be running just to show you what people have been bragging about Nairobi. There you go with the background there. But I'm not quite sure this is what they were talking about. You can see those lions laughing at the depiction of what they should be looking like. You'll be the judge, though, after the break. We'll be coming back with this story and the reactions from people. Thank you for staying with NTV tonight. Police are yet to take action against 2 men captured on CCTV cameras assaulting a security guard at the Gateway Park along Mombasa Road.
Walter Ouma was manning the entrance gate on Sunday, 3rd March 2019, when a Turkish national, accompanied by a Kenyan lawyer, violently forced their way into the premises. Malmianda reports.
Sunday, March 3rd, 2019, drama unfolded outside Gateway Park, Mombasa Road. The security guard, Walter Ouma, was at the center of the fiasco as he went about his job. Bülent Gulbahar, a Turkish national who wanted to gain access at all costs, launched a physical attack on Ouma. Bülent was accompanied by Kenyan lawyer Valentine Ataka.
Nikamwambia mimi sijui, ngoja nikutafutia caretaker akuje akusaidie kwa sababu mimi sina habari kama kuna mtu mwingine akona nyumba hapa. Huyo mzungu akaniambia, my friend, you either open or else you see fire.
Block C building here in Gateway Park, which is right behind me, is what brought about the drama between the private security here, the Turkish national who supposedly came with his lawyer. Now it is indicated that this specific block has not been occupied for over 10 years. The last tenant was here in 2008 and since then no one has come back. Walter Ouma was the private security here. He's only been working for the last 3 months.
Pika mwenzangu makonde kadhaa. Kwenda kuokoa mwenzangu pale akanirudia. Akanisukumia mimi kahepa kidogo lakini aliweza kunifikishia ngumi moja.
Ouma, who had been hospitalized for the past 3 days, has since recorded a statement with the police as he pursues justice. Information shared with NTV indicates that the Block C building at Gateway Park has been at the center of management wrangles over the years and has strict security protocol to access the building.
Wakubwa ndio wanajua. Hakuna owner, acha tuseme hawaku establish any owner wa hiyo kwa security. Hata mwenye anakuja hapa yote namwambia hiyo nyumba akitaka mwenye kutaka kwenda huko pengine anauliza empty office nini, mwelekeze kwenye management alafu atamhudumia. Ama akieleza kulingana na security mtu aeleze kwamba anaenda kule, anaweza kuwa ni terrorist.
The Turkish national's whereabouts are unknown. The black Toyota RAV4 has been impounded at the Richfield police station. Police say investigations are ongoing. Malmiendo, NTV.
All right. Quite unfortunate there. Now, have you heard of the Sonko lions? Well, there are new creatures that have landed in Kenya's capital, Nairobi.
I think you're talking about this one. They have been identified in different parts of the country. In reality, only bear some passing resemblance to the mighty king of the jungle.
Well, NTV's Usha Hosei set out to examine the new creatures of the capital.
At the junction of Uhuru Highway and University Way stands a beast, or some creature that aspires to look like a beast. It struggles to look imposing, but fails miserably. It appears to be part of the ongoing beautification project by the Nairobi County government. There have been lights and pavements and whatnot, and now the animals, especially the lions. They have created quite a buzz. Earlier this week, this lion walked onto this roundabout.
It's a joke. Honestly, we need to know how much money was used, and instead we should channel it to other things that are that make sense.
It doesn't look like a lion. The architect, whoever made it was a bit off.
Residents do not seem to think that this so-called king of the jungle looks kingly at all.
I think the lion looks funny, so they should get rid of it or find something better to put there.
Pesa yenye ilitumika hapo kwa hizo sanamu za lions, hiyo pesa ingetumika kutengeneza. Kuna parapara ma estates zimeharibika. Kuna wafanya biashara wadogo wanaweka biashara kwa parapara kwa chwa. Wangenunua ma container.
And social media has it all under the trending hashtag Sonko Lions. The county lions pale in comparison to statues of other lions, such as the lions at the Macmillan Memorial Library built in 1931. Nairobi is not the first city to experience statues that are considered below par. The leadership of Funchal in Portugal came under fire for putting up a statue of footballer Cristiano Ronaldo that was described as appalling. Mo Salah too was misrepresented in Egypt, while in Manhattan, world-famous wax museum Madame Tussauds had to take down a statue of Beyoncé.
First, it was the grass, and then the flowers, and now the statues. They say that beauty is relative and everyone has their own opinion, but it would appear in this case that the vote is almost unanimous. Nairobi's beautification projects may keep changing, but the ridicule does not, begging the question, Nairobi City County, better with or without the statues? Usha Jose, NTV.
And there have been some reindeers spotted elsewhere in the country. This is actually in the coastal area. Never dull moment in our country here, Kenya. I hope this won't be his legacy because not much to write home about.
It's called Omusimba.
Sitachu. Anyway, let's take another break here. We'll be handling the business, some real business now with Julian's Amboko after the break. Stay with us. Let's get down to business. I am Julian Amoko. Welcome to the program. The scam around Ekeza Sacco founder David Ngari alias Gakuyo is far above the 1 billion shillings he's said to have stolen. Sources indicate that there are a variety of schemes that the preacher come businessman used to siphon money from unsuspecting investors. Lillian Carey reports that he is still walking free despite having presented himself to the Directorate of Criminal Investigations.
Fresh accusations against David Ngari, alias Gakuyo, have come up. These involve an entity dubbed Gakuyo Investment Club. In a letter seen by NTV, members were required to deposit their savings with the club, which would then purchase land and other immovable assets, which would attract an interest of 2% monthly. The interest would then be paid directly to the investor. The club has defaulted in payments since last year, and withdrawal of the principal sum has been a rumor. The club, which is said to have more money lost, was for investments by well-off individuals, while the SACCO was left to the lower income earners. Gakuyo, who has resigned as the economic advisor to Kiambu Governor Ferdinand Waititu, arrived at the DCI headquarters on Thursday, allegedly in surrender to avert arrest.
The DCI has confirmed that there is no complaint launched against our client. The DCI has confirmed that he has only been seeing social media and stories going around. Save that 5 minutes before we arrived at the office of the DCI, a complaint document came from the Ministry of Trade.
The SACCO, formed in 2014, started facing challenges after it unlawfully opened its common bond and merged the operation of its founder's real estate company with that of the SACCO. Lillian Carey, NTV.
And we'll keep tabs on that story to ensure that their aggrieved depositors are kept updated. Elsewhere, Kirinyaga coffee farmers are warming up to higher prices for their produce after a new market was found in the United States of America. The county government says it has established a coffee house in New York where coffee from Kirinyaga will be delivered directly for sale in the US starting the 16th of this month. The direct sales are expected to fetch 120 shillings per kilogram with 4 tons flown every week. NTV's Melita Oletenges with the details.
Thousands of exhibitors thronged the Devolution Conference venue in Kirinyaga to showcase their work. Among the many exhibitors and business people stands this coffee house, donning the name Kirinyaga Coffee. Governor Anne Waiguru told the Devolution Conference that the Kirinyaga County government is at the last stages of setting up such a coffee shop in New York.
This is as a result of our marketing endeavors, and as a start, our partners will be buying 3 to 4 tons of coffee per week directly from our farmers.
Once the county government starts delivering coffee to the new market, farmers will earn between 100 to 120 shillings per kilogram of the produce. Currently, farmers earn peanuts for their produce. Delegates attending the 6th Devolution Conference have continued to flock the shop to taste the coffee amid excitement from customers who have viewed the move as a milestone and an example for county governments.
We've just heard that they've gotten a market in the overseas, and this is one way of making Kenya getting to be known of what we produce. So as an export is again to the Kenyans.
Farmers have in the past complained of low profits in the business due to the fluctuating market prices, but that could take a different turn if the new market in the US yields fruits.
Kirinyaga's coffee has been ranked among the best in the world by the International Coffee Review. The county spreading its wings into the international market holds a promise of better returns for farmers who have in the past been at the mercy of middlemen. Melita Oletenges, NTV, Kirinyaga County.
Some good news there for coffee farmers in Kirinyaga County. Moving on, the government will officially begin the process of selling the Kenya Meat Commission to a private investor as soon as a task force to oversee the process is set up. The Ministry of Agriculture says the government will no longer put money into loss-making institutions with the hope of reviving them, yet the institutions show no sign of recovery. The Athi River-based plant now joins the list of 26 other government agencies that have been earmarked by the Privatization Commission for sale to strategic investors. investors. And elsewhere, Kenya has been awarded the best African country in promoting tourism online. Kenya stood out for using digital platforms such as Facebook and YouTube to show potential tourists what the country has to offer in the tourism sector. Kevin Mutai with that report from Berlin in Germany.
An American global travel technology company, Expedia Group, has identified Kenya as the leading country within the African continent that uses online platforms to market itself with the Magical Kenya campaign.
There were several different nominees across the continent who the competition was very fierce, but this campaign just stood out above and beyond all others.
We are one of many destinations, so we need to be alive to the different strategies, and digital definitely is the way forward.
As the ITB Expo in Berlin enters day 2, hotel managers and travel agencies have also recorded increased demand for Kenya's tourism products, ranging from hotels and safaris.
The Kenya is on its bounce back, and it's an upward trend. So a lot of dormant accounts, a lot of dormant businesses that were literally non-existent have started coming back. Even newer ventures have started, and avenues have started opening up.
We had clients from Germany, US and UK. So we've come back to make sure that all those source markets, we are getting those clients as we used to have.
Kenya continues to bear the honor of being among the top countries in the world that offers the best tourism attraction centers, as the stakeholders engaging at the ITB trade fair in Berlin agree that there is need to re-strategize in marketing the Kenya's product. Kevin Mutai, NTV from Berlin, Germany.
And that wraps up NTV Business Tonight. Do enjoy the rest of your viewing. Welcome back. National Assembly Speaker Justin Muturi will make a ruling next week on whether the Public Accounts Committee report that recommended the exit of commissioners of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission for failing in their mandate will be debated by members of Parliament.
MPs are divided on whether the report is admissible in the House. Some MPs accuse PAC of trying to remove the commissioners through the back door, while others wanted the report to be debated and passed.
The Public Accounts Committee report that recommended the exit of Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission chiefs led by its chairman Wafula Chebukati has legislators divided on whether it should or should not be debated on the floor of the House.
Pursuant to that standing order,
some legislators have accused the Public Accounts Committee of overstepping its mandate, arguing that the matter of the removal of the commissioners can only be done through a person petitioning the House and the process being handled by the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee.
That the report, in particular the findings of the committee on page 7 and 130, are inadmissible as they are contrary to the Constitution.
What PAC proposed to do, Mr. Speaker, is illogical, offends the Constitution, Mr. Speaker, and it's meant to sort out a problem through the back door.
My committee established a litany of transgressions which ended up costing taxpayers lots of public money. There are also cases of violation of the Constitution. My committee also came across cases of violation of procurement laws.
However, other MPs viewed the tabling and debating of the report as an opportunity for members of the House, as representatives of the people, to initiate the removal of the commissioners.
That unless some Kenyan has the courage to bring a petition, then we, as an August House, that actually passed the name of that person or those persons, our hands are tied, we cannot discuss. That would be very dangerous.
The issue here is that we have to look at the report on its own merit, Mr. Speaker, and discuss it and make amendments if we feel like.
IEBC Chairman Wafula Chebukati has accused PAC of ignoring commissioners' submissions when writing the report.
Most of what we presented, both in writing and oral, is not captured in that report, or for purpose of arriving at the recommendations which you are referring.
The report has accused IEBC Chairman Wafula Chebukati of violating Chapter 6 of the Constitution for presiding over allocation of legal work to his former law firm without disclosing that relationship or even cautioning the secretariat of the same. Vincent Odur, NTV.
All right, and that report there by Vincent Oduor will be taking us for a very short break, but when we come back, Sean Cadavelis will be bringing us all the sporting action.
With the latest sports news now, Daniel Matasi Rudisha, the father of 800 meters record holder David Rudisha, passed away last evening at the War Memorial Hospital in Nakuru, aged 73. David, who's the Olympic 800 meters champion and world record holder, told Nation Sport that his father passed away on Wednesday night after he suffered a heart attack. Daniel was a teacher and an athletics coach after he retired from the sport, where he made his name when he won silver in the 4x400 meter relay, and that was alongside Ezekiel Nyamau, Charles Asati and the late Naftali Bon in the 1968 Olympics in Mexico City. Athletes in Kamarini, Iten County are planning to undertake repairs on their training grounds after the government-led work at the stadium stalled. This puts into focus Jubilee's 5-stadia pledge 6 years after forming the government.
In 6 months' time, the stadium in Kamarini in West Pokot, which is historic, will be complete.
This is the state of the Cameroon Stadium in Iten, 14 months after the Deputy President William Ruto said that repair work would be completed. Cameroon has launched the careers of multiple champions and driven Kenya's dominance in middle and long distance running for over half a century.
They are worried also if Cameroon is going to take 10 years before it's completed, then where will be the athletes in this country? Where are we? Are we be able to compete well with Ethiopians?
With the construction works having stalled, frustrated athletes have now taken matters into their own hands and have launched a fundraising campaign to build for themselves a basic track.
We thought as athletic fraternity to come up together, call for support from our friends, to come together and raise funds so that we can finish that track in Kiptingo that needs the maram.
With Iten being the breeding ground for upcoming athletes, there is a worry that without training facilities, the standards may drop in upcoming global events.
So we have a very big risk of losing the titles to other countries like Ethiopia.
The Jubilee government promised 5 new stadia in its 2013 manifesto.
So instead of 5 stadiums, we actually went for 9, just to make it good and to make it better.
The promise was later downgraded to fixing county-level stadia countrywide. Now, even those county-level stadia are not ready 6 years into the Jubilee administration. Warote Kiru, NTV.